Hello, ladies and gentlemen, the Club World Cup draw has just been conducted. Of course, this tournament has been going on for some time, but this is the first time we'll be seeing it in this type of format. It will be the same exact format as the World Cup. Not the one coming up in 2026, but the previous versions. As we all know, in 2026 it will be expanded. 8 groups of 4 teams each, followed with knockouts starting out in the round of 16. Now the tournament at the time of this recording is a long way away from now. It's happening in June 2025. It's only December now, so in this video, these are just my very early predictions. Definitely things could change once we are closer to the tournament, and I will do a follow-up video once we are a few weeks away. Please, if you haven't already, leave an early like, subscribe if you're new. Let's try to hit 4,000 likes on this video. And before we tour around the globe going over so many clubs from different countries, let me tell you about a way you can do the same. Straight to your computer with today's sponsor, NordVPN. NordVPN is the perfect tool to allow you to browse the web safely and securely, allowing you to do so in any country in the world. It's a great way to access the best of streaming devices, for example. If you need to access a website subscription which only operates in Germany, for example, and you're abroad, you're just one click away to be browsing within your desired location. I use it for my preferred streaming services to keep up to date with football since I travel a lot, and even read specific news articles or watch match highlights which are only available in certain locations. But NordVPN also provides ultimate threat protection. With Threat Protection Pro activated, websites are blocked that are fake, malicious, or used for phishing, fraud, and scams. Malware is always checked on when downloading a file, and no more annoying pop-ups while web browsing. NordVPN also scans your data to make sure it does not get leaked on the dark web, continuously checking, even when you're not logged on to a VPN server. I've been using NordVPN for years now, and it's actually the fastest VPN service out there. So make sure you download it now using my link for a massive discount, plus 4 months for free. There's 30-day money-back guarantee, 24/7 customer support, and one account protects up to 10 devices. I cannot recommend them more, so use my link nordvpn.com/hrvizak to get the best out of web browsing. That's nordvpn.com/hrvizak. Alright, let's go one by one for each of the groups, starting off with Group A. We have Palmeiras, Porto, Al Ahly, and Inter Miami. This group for me is a group of life, filled with possibility. However, I still think Porto will top it. Their form in the Europa League at the time of this recording is not that hot. They are currently 23rd place. So honestly, I would not be surprised if we see them slip from that first place spot. But in Portugal, they seem to be doing just fine. Second place, only 3 points behind Sporting at the time of this recording, with 2 losses. They've replaced Taremi just fine this season with Samu. He's already gotten loads of goal contributions this season. Galeno from Brazil as well has been superb. It was a long time ago, but at the end of the day, this is a Champions League winning club. They 100% cannot underestimate these other clubs. We'll get into all of them later, but some of them have loads of experience, loads of silverware backing them up as well, but I think that they will do just fine and secure first. When it comes to the other 3 clubs, of course, I think it's going to be a very close affair. When you look at what each of them have to offer on paper, Inter Miami might seem like the biggest threat with some of their big names, but we got to keep in mind, many of them are winding down towards the end of their career. Yes, Messi is still brilliant, and Inter Miami still had a fantastic MLS season, topping their league standings, but got eliminated on the first round of knockouts in the playoffs. And as their manager, they've just appointed another ex-Barcelona legend, Mascherano. And the way FIFA just kind of fitted Inter Miami into this competition, it makes me think that maybe they'll have at least one result going their way. Of course, this will also be played in the United States, technically home field advantage if you want to call it, and people no matter what will be supporting Messi in fixtures like this, so you never know with this club. But like I already said, these other clubs, Palmeiras and Al Ahly, you cannot rule out. Al Ahly is one of the most decorated clubs in the world with over 150 trophies. This is their perfect opportunity to shine and show the world what they're made of in a competition like this. Their goalkeeper El Shanawi is highly regarded, and they do have a very exciting attack force. Meanwhile, Palmeiras, at the time of this recording, I know the Brazilian league is about to wrap up, they are 2nd place in the league, only just behind Botafogo. Yes, they lost their wonder kid Edric, but they have another one to their disposal. Davao is the club's top goal scorer and assister. Now, Inter Miami have some of the best veterans you could ask for, but they still just feel like an incomplete team in certain positions. Defensively, they do crumble quite a lot. Genuinely, we're already starting off with probably the toughest group to predict in this competition, but I'm going to say the order follows as this: Palmeiras 2nd, Al Ahly 3rd, and Inter Miami 4th. I'm sorry to anyone I'm disappointing. I love Messi as well. I would love to see him excel in this competition. People are saying that he did get an easy draw, but to me they didn't. Just because they avoided the likes of Real Madrid or Manchester City does not make this group easy whatsoever. We'll see though. Of course, let me know your own prediction in the comments. Moving on to Group B, a group some might consider the group of death, but when you look at that last team, Seattle Sounders, you might rule out that factor. No offense to them. We'll love to see them do well, but they're getting 4th place. easily. When you already look at PSG and Atletico Madrid, that's already a nightmare to deal with. But Botafogo as well is not going to be easy. These guys at the time of this recording are on the verge of winning the double, the Copa Libertadores, and top of their domestic league. It's incredible what they managed to achieve this season, as in the last one, they had one of the biggest bottle jobs in history. But now they look to be truly back. They have one of the best players in the MLS, Thiago Almada, Luis Enrique, even Alex Telles. This is a great club, and I would love to see them pull off a result against one of these European clubs. They definitely have what it takes, but I'm going to play it safe and put them at 3rd place. Atletico and PSG just faced off against one another in the Champions League, where Atletico Madrid were victorious. But overall, both clubs have been disappointing in the competition. PSG definitely far worse, as they're in elimination zone. Atletico Madrid still have been scraping through some results, but they also got annihilated by Benfica 4-0. PSG, even without Mbappe, always seem to continue to kill it domestically. But once they have to play clubs from other countries in the world, they seem to struggle. So you know what? I really won't be surprised if Botafogo push through for 2nd place, PSG falls short, but I am keeping Paris at 2nd place, Atletico Madrid 1st. Atletico Madrid definitely should not take this group lightly, but I think they have what it takes under Diego Simeone. They've held their identity for so long, they hold one of the best goalkeepers in the world to some incredible attackers. Some still need to find their footing, but again, this tournament is in 6 months' time. I think Atletico Madrid at least can have a convincing group stage display. In the knockouts, I'm not too sure though. And to my friends from Seattle, I do apologize for not going in depth on you guys. Would love to see Jordan Moore score a hat-trick against Donnarumma. But with Brian Schmetzer at the helm since 2016, I think even you guys know you're cooked. Group C now with Bayern Munich, Auckland City FC, Boca Juniors, and Benfica. It's a bit similar to Group B, isn't it? I mean, you've got 2 European sides that many are expecting to get 1st and 2nd. One that, you shouldn't underestimate at all, and then there's just a club sitting there knowing that they most likely have absolutely 0 chance. Auckland City have qualified for the previous Club World Cups, obviously in the other format, but in the entire competition's history, they've only been able to grab 2 wins. I know they've won a lot of titles, but in the OFC specifically, I'm sorry, easy 4th place for me. Boca Juniors, I want to give these guys some hope, but currently in the Argentinian league, they're sitting at 6th place. They do have a 37-year-old Cavani to their disposal, but there's no denying that his numbers have slowed down. Both Bayern and Benfica have shown their inconsistencies from time to time, but there's no denying that they are still very explosive sides. Neither should underestimate this club with such rich history, but I'm putting them at 3rd. Benfica is a very electric side at the moment, with Arthur being one of their best signings. To Di Maria still providing the goods. Sometimes defensively there are question marks, but they picked up some massive wins recently, including defeating their rivals Porto 4-1. They also faced Bayern Munich in the Champions League not that long ago, which was just a 1-0 defeat. I do think Benfica will finish 2nd while Bayern get 1st. Bayern Munich, although they just slipped another opportunity to win a trophy while they have Harry Kane, though without a doubt over the season have been an explosive team. They set records in the Champions League, like scoring an insane amount of goals against Dinamo Zagreb. I do see them topping this group. Maybe Benfica can push through, but Bayern Munich for me are the favorites. Let's move on to Group D with Flamengo, Chelsea, Leon, and Esperance Sportiva de Tunis. I think I'm going to have to put the club that the FIFA draws were even struggling to say, and I probably butcher their name as well, in 4th place. The 33-time champion of Tunisia, 15-time Tunisian Cup winner, might play an interesting defensive game. You know what? I'm not so certain that they'll finish 4th. Leon, they're not doing so brilliantly either. They've only grabbed 3 wins so far in Liga MX, but I think their forwards might be able to push through in this competition, though Venezuelan Cadiz showing enough strength to break through that Tunisian club defense. At the end of the day, I don't see this club doing so well either. I'm having them finish 3rd place. And in fact, I think the top 2 are probably the easiest to predict. That's going to be Flamengo at 2nd and Chelsea at 1st. Flamengo are a very, very good side. 3rd place at the moment in their domestic league, who is now being managed by Felipe Luis, which will be interesting, of course, as he used to play for Chelsea as well. It's unfortunate that their forward Pedro is injured now, as he was getting some insane numbers prior. Very good side. I'm definitely banking on them to do the best just because they did have a better draw compared to the other Brazilian clubs, in my opinion. Their only massive obstacle is going to be Chelsea. And Chelsea were definitely not looking good last season, but now they have very much improved. At the moment, they're 2nd place in the Premier League with only 2 losses. Cole Palmer these days is the biggest talking point for the club, their top goal scorer and assister. But Nicholas Jackson has been a lot more consistent. But Eska has been doing an incredible job, and I think that Chelsea will definitely be topping this group. Moving on to Group E now, we have River Plate, Urawa Red Diamonds, Monterrey, and Inter. Now the Red Diamonds are one of the most popular clubs in Japan, but their form lately has not been good whatsoever. And they're currently sitting 12th in their domestic league. It's not a good look. This competition is in 6 months, but improvements are needed fast, I do think this club will be the unfortunate one to finish 4th place. Monterrey have not been in perfect form either, but they do have some convincing results going their way as of recent. It'll be interesting to see their manager Demichelis go into this tournament, as he is the previous manager of River Plate, who are in the same group as them. Don't forget that Ocampos, a massive player for Sevilla, signed for this club, and as we've seen with Sevilla, he loves to thrive in tournament-style football. Many other underrated players on this team, and they could shock in this tournament without a doubt, but I think it's safe to put them at 3rd place, as I'm definitely feeling more confident in River Plate, while I'll be putting in 2nd, and Inter are the heavy favorites. First for me. River Plate's manager Marcelo Gallardo, in 23 matches, only lost 3. Yes, they did pick up a lot of draws in the process. In the Copa Libertadores, they did blow their chance to make it to the final, losing to Atletico Mineiro 3-0 on aggregate. Inter at the moment are one of the best sides in Europe, so there's no denying that they should be finishing first in this. At the time of this recording in the Champions League, they are the only club who have yet to concede a goal. This is a group where they're heavy favorites, and I think they should be considered as one of the favorites in this competition as well, as you're going to see Martinez and Thuram really add to their goal tally against these clubs in this group. Let's move on to Group F now with Fluminense, Dortmund, Ulsan, and Mamelodi Sundowns. This right here is another group of life with only one group clear winner, Dortmund. Yes, this club always show their inconsistent patches, but they definitely should be handling every single one of these clubs. 5th in the Bundesliga standings, 4th in the Champions League standings. No matter which players come and go, this side always seem to find a way to regain their identity. Now, who will I put in 2nd? If they were in better form, I would obviously bank on the Brazilian club Fluminense, who were in pot 1 for this draw, but their form has absolutely sunk. They won the last year Libertadores, which is what granted them a position in this tournament to be in pot 1. But now at the time of this recording, they're just above relegation, so with 1 match left to play. They could be playing in this tournament while they are in the 2nd division, who knows? And it's shocking how things panned out. I mean, Marcelo had a falling out with the club. They managed to get Thiago Silva to return to the club, and even he has not been able to make enough of an impact. I don't see them doing well here. Obviously, this is in 6 months. They have time to redeem themselves, but I do think this club will not be in the top 2. I'm going to go far enough to say that they finish 4th place, as I think 2nd and 3rd will be a battle between Mamelodi Sundowns and Ulsan HD. Ulsan do have a weaker squad on paper, but they are killing it in the Korean League. They did blow it in the Korean Cup final, but overall this club has still shown dominance. However, I have the most faith in Mamelodi Sundowns. This South African club have many great talking points, but the thing that I really think just shows a lot for this team is that many of their players get selected for the South African national team. And you already see that they're able to unify so well together. Their players making impact to knock Morocco out, World Cup semi-finalists of the Africa Cup of Nations. Their goalkeeper Ronwen Williams was nominated for the Yashin Award. He's the only ever African goalkeeper based in Africa to be nominated for such an award. They've got set-piece specialists like Mokoena. At the moment, they're first in the South African League, tied on points with Orlando Pirates. So they've been in great form, a side that really knows how to unify well. I think they got a wonderful draw in order to prove themselves at the big stage. I think they have what it takes to get 2nd place, while Ulsan HD get 3rd. Moving on to Group G, Manchester City, Wydad Casablanca, Al Ain, and Juventus. I hate to be repetitive, but I'm going to kill the suspense and say I definitely think both UEFA teams will finish 1st and 2nd, while the underdogs will be 3rd and 4th. I don't want to rule out these underdogs whatsoever. Wydad Casablanca truly has one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen, at least online, but they're going to be playing in the United States. The 22-time Moroccan champions should definitely not lose hope or sight, but they're coming up against some of the best clubs in Europe, and Al Ain is also an underdog to not rule out, as in the AFC Champions League, this club were able to knock out the likes of Al Nassr while Ronaldo was playing there, and even beat Al Hilal, but that was all last season. And recently, Al Hilal and Al Nassr were able to get their revenge. Al Ain already got some international experience facing Al Ahly and lost 3-0. In the UAE Pro League, they have been slipping. They're in 6th place right now, but still with only 1 loss. But in the Champions League, they have no wins and they're 2nd to last. Maybe their form will improve, but I think it's going to be a toss-up between them and Wydad to get that 3rd or 4th spot. I'm going to put Al Ain at 4th though, and Wydad Casablanca at 3rd. Now between Juventus and Manchester City, definitely a toss-up. Manchester City's form has been dreadful. They did finally pick up their first win after 6 matches. That scenario just seemed to be unheard of with a club like that. But finally, they were able to get a convincing result against Nottingham Forest. And again, this is in 6 months' time, so I do think with the quality they have, they can improve. Pep Guardiola signed a new contract with the club. Although his managerial form has been diminished a bit, I think he can pick himself back up. A lot of his injury issues could be resolved by the time this tournament rolls around. I'm not really sure when Rodri is expected to return, actually. While Juventus under Thiago Motta is definitely exciting times. However, to me, judging off of their recent form, have still been drawing more matches than they should be. Proof of this is that they're still undefeated in the Serie A, but with more draws than wins. They're the only undefeated club in the Serie A at the time of this recording, and they sit at 6th. It needs to be better for them, but they are building on a new project. I still think that they will do the job in this Club World Cup, but they will fall short to 2nd. While Manchester City dominate. Maybe it will be a close match between the two, but I do think Manchester City will secure 1st place. And the final group we're looking at, Group H, is a massive one. Real Madrid, Al Hilal, Pachuca, and RB Salzburg. Shout out to Salzburg for joining my live stream of the draw. It would be cool to see this club do well, but out of all of the European teams in the competition, many people are not expecting much from them. In the Champions League, they have been terrible, only picking up their first win against Feyenoord. But other than that, they have been annihilated by every other team they faced. Not necessarily difficult matches either. I do think that they got a favorable draw in terms of their schedule. Anyway, they still currently sit 32nd at the time of this recording in the standings. And even the Austrian Bundesliga, they are currently sitting at 5th. And I am surprised it's going so badly for them. Of course, they had loads of departures, but of course, a lot of exciting new arrivals. At the same time, of course, though, they have been battling loads of injuries. It's going to be tough against Real Madrid without a doubt. But maybe they can just pull through against Al Hilal. At the same time though, Al Hilal is stacked. Of course, it's unfortunate Neymar has been getting injured all the time, but it really seems to be no problem for them. They have fantastic attacking options with Alexander Mitrovic, their top goal scorer. In the midfield, you got another Serbian, Milinkovic-Savic. Let's not forget that they do have Joao Cancelo, along with more great options in the back line, Koulibaly, and their goalkeeper is Bono. Say what you want about the Saudi League, but it is going to be exciting to see this side come up in this competition, especially if they advance to the knockouts, how they will do against these other European clubs. Real Madrid will obviously be the toughest test in this group. They have been in shaky form. Mbappe, a lot of fingers have been being pointed at him, as he has not been as clinical as people expected him to be. But in time, I do think that he will settle in more with the club. And overall, this club still have legacy and just love competitions like this. To me, they are still one of the favorites to win the entire thing, even though they are not looking the most convincing right now. Pachuca were doing terrible in Liga MX, only grabbing 3 wins, 10 losses. They still seem to be going on the score sheet often, but still, defensively, they are a nightmare at the moment. The last time they kept a clean sheet was all the way back in July. To me, the order of this group is very clear. Obviously, we'll see how some of the clubs progress in form, but I'll put Real Madrid at 1st, Al Hilal 2nd, RB Salzburg at 3rd, and Pachuca at 4th. This makes RB Salzburg my only club from UEFA to be eliminated in the group stage. If they improve their form, things can change, but I think 1st and 2nd at the moment, based on paper, is very much clear who will advance to the knockouts. Alright, so here's all the matches we have set for the round of 16. I hope I arranged my bracket correctly. Porto vs PSG, Bayern vs Flamengo, Inter versus Sundowns, Man City versus Al Hilal, and then on the other side it's Atletico Madrid versus Palmeiras, Chelsea versus Benfica, Dortmund versus River Plate, and Real Madrid versus Juventus. Starting out with Porto versus PSG, genuinely one where anything is possible. I could see at the moment this match going to penalties and Porto winning the shootout. Yeah, at the moment, based on their Champions League form, I just cannot see PSG going super far in this competition. I think Porto have what it takes to beat them, even though they haven't been convincing in the Europa League either. By the way, sorry, I should have said this earlier. I am going to go through this bracket a little bit quicker than we did the group stage, just because I pretty much gave a preview to most of the teams already. Moving on to Bayern versus Flamengo, I think Bayern should be getting a comfortable win here. Inter versus the Sundowns. I told you guys I think the Sundowns definitely have what it takes to have a solid run in this competition, but if they have to face Inter, one of the most informed teams in Europe right now, I could see it being a very close match. I really could see Inter maybe just scraping 1 goal for it to finish 1-0. But I do think that they will advance to the next round. Manchester City versus Al Hilal. This will be a very energetic, pacey match, but I do think Manchester City have what it takes to get the victory. Moving on to the other side, Atletico Madrid versus Palmeiras. Obviously, Atletico Madrid are the favorites on paper in a fixture like this, but you know what? I'm going to go for the upset here. I know it seems shocking, but I genuinely do see at least one club making it to the quarterfinals that is not from Europe. I know it's not going to be the favorable choice, but there has to be some upsets going on this tournament, and I didn't really predict too many in the group stage. Chelsea versus Benfica, what a match this would be, but I am going to bank on Chelsea to advance to the quarterfinals. Dortmund versus River Plate. Could see an upset here as well, but I do think Dortmund will advance. And Real Madrid versus Juventus obviously would be an incredible match, but Real Madrid should be the ones to push through. That has our quarterfinal matches looking like this. First, we have Porto versus Bayern, Inter versus Man City, and on the other side is Palmeiras versus Chelsea, and Dortmund versus Real Madrid. Porto versus Bayern, I think Porto's run ends here. Bayern advanced to the semis. Inter versus Man City, already a Champions League final that happened not too long ago, and these sides face one another in the very first match day of this season's Champions League. I believe it was a draw. This one will be very close and cagey, but I do think Man City will be the ones victorious. It will be very cool to see Inter get revenge, but even though City are in a bit of shambles right now, at this point, I think they'll redeem their form. Moving on to Palmeiras versus Chelsea. Palmeiras, it would be incredible if you made it this far, but I think this is Chelsea's perfect opportunity to capitalize on a fixture like this. They will make it to the semifinals. Dortmund versus Real Madrid, the last Champions League final, and these sides face one another in this league phase of the Champions League this season. Dortmund thought they had the match under control after halftime, scoring 2 goals, but Real Madrid scored 5 in the second half. Absolute bottle job. I just think Real Madrid would easily get the best out of Dortmund in this fixture. I know they're not the most convincing in form, but again, this is in a very long time from now, and history suggests that they can beat a club like this. Real Madrid to the semifinals. Those semifinals now starting out with Bayern Munich versus Man City. I do think Man City will make it to the final. And then Chelsea versus Real Madrid. Chelsea, like I said, have really been on a rise of form, but with Real Madrid's legacy, they always know how to handle competitions like this. Even though this is new, I know, but the format of it, tournament-style play, they have what it takes to defeat Chelsea, I reckon. They will make it to the final. At the same time, this will be single leg, so who knows. But anyway, moving on to that final match of Manchester City versus Real Madrid, I do think that Real Madrid have what it takes to win the whole thing, because at this point, if they're in the final, it's too hard to bank against them. Their record in finals is incredible. But those are just my thoughts, guys. As always, let me know your predictions in the comments below. Who will win the entire thing? What your group standings will look like? Who will be the surprise team in this competition? It's going to be a good one for sure. And don't forget, the UEFA World Cup qualifier draw will happen next week. So I'll be doing a stream for that and a prediction video as well. So stay tuned. And also the Champions League Matchday 6 will be occurring very soon, so I'll be releasing another prediction video for that within a few days. Lots to look forward to on this channel this month, so don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you all so much for making it to the end. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Boa noite.